Welcome to Speaking Together We Are Better video training. This is a review course for the speaking test of the national examination in the English language. My name is Ene Alas. I'm an associate professor at Tallinna University and I shall be talking you through this training. During this training, we shall be talking about the national examination in the English language in general, but we shall focus on the testing of speaking. During this training, we shall think about the speaking test structure. We shall look at interview introduction, how to manage task 1, how to manage task 2. We'll consider how the speaking test is marked, and I'll try and answer some of the questions that students have about the speaking test. You will also have an opportunity to look at an example of the speaking test interview. Before we start looking at the speaking test, let's consider the structure of the national examination in the English language altogether. The national examination in the English language has 4 papers: the writing paper, the listening comprehension paper, reading comprehension paper, and a speaking test. The writing paper has 2 tasks, and students have 90 minutes to complete them. The listening comprehension paper has 5 tasks, and the time now is 40 minutes. For both these parts, writing and listening comprehension, students can get up to 25 points. The reading comprehension paper has 7 tasks, and students have 90 minutes to do those tasks. The maximum number of points here is 30. The speaking test has 2 tasks, and every student has 15 minutes to complete those 2 tasks. The examiners have 20 points to give for this performance. The national examination in the English language is a long test. It lasts 3 hours and 55 minutes. The maximum number of points available is 100. Let us now concentrate on the speaking test. The speaking test has 3 parts: the introduction, or a warm-up. Task 1, where the student has 2 photographs to describe. And task 2, where the student has to comment on a statement that they see. Let us now look at the interview in some detail. The first stage is the introduction. This is a very short stage and only lasts 2 minutes. During this stage, the student answers a number of warm-up questions, but his or her performance is not marked at all. In stage 2, the student gets 2 pictures. They first have to describe the pictures and answer a question under those 2 pictures. They then answer questions from the interviewer. Stage 2 usually lasts between 5 to 6 minutes. Stage 3 is a commentary of a statement that the student gets. After the commentary, the student again has to answer some follow-up questions from the interviewer. The time for this stage is between 5 and 7 minutes. Please remember that the interview is recorded. Let's consider the introduction for a minute. During this stage, the interviewer will ask you some easy general questions. The aim of this stage is to get used to the interviewer, get used to the situation, get used to the interview. And this is why no points are given for the student performance during this stage. The topics are general topics which are often discussed in class. Home, weather, traffic, sports, music. Something that young people often talk about. A good tip is to try and say as much as you can. This is your opportunity of warming up and getting used to speaking in English. Do not worry if the interviewer stops you. Remember, this is a very short stage. It only lasts 2 minutes. Let us now look at some examples of the introduction, some examples of warm-up questions. The interviewer may say, "Let's talk about the internet." She may ask, "Is the internet a good way to learn a foreign language?" Just say what you think. Give some reasons. If you're not giving reasons, the interviewer may ask why. Another question then follows. What internet sites are popular among young people? Why? Again, she's asking for your opinions, so don't worry about the answers and don't worry about being correct. There is no right or wrong answer. Another example could be, let's talk about bicycles. How popular are bicycles among young people? Why? What means of transport do people mostly use in Estonia? Why? Or another example, let's talk about singing. How popular is singing as a hobby among young people? Why? Would it be a good idea to have singing as a career? Why? So, these are questions where there is no right or wrong answer. Just tell the interviewer what you think, give your opinion. Remember, this is an opportunity for you to warm up to speaking. Use this opportunity before the interview really begins. Now we come to stage 2. Task 1, picture description. Here you will get 2 pictures with a question under them. You then have 1 minute to think about the pictures and the question. You don't have any opportunity to take notes here. Note-taking is not allowed. But you can plan in your head, you can think about the pictures and think about the question. In your talk, what you need to do is describe what you see in the pictures. Pretend that the interviewer cannot see the pictures. Then you will be speaking more. And we will have a better idea of your language. The next step is to compare the pictures. How are the pictures similar? Maybe they are both about summer. Maybe about studying. Maybe about a sport event. What is shared? The next step is to contrast the 2 pictures. Talk about how the pictures are different. Maybe one picture is showing students studying in a classroom, and the other picture is showing students studying outside. And the final step is to answer the question under the pictures. Remember, you have to cover all the points. So you need to describe, compare, contrast, and answer the question under the pictures, and you have 2 minutes to accomplish this task. So practice before the examination. During the examination, don't worry if the interviewer stops you. It just means that your 2 minutes are up, and you've said quite a bit. Here is an example of task 1. There are 2 pictures in front of you. Above the pictures, there is a reminder. Describe, compare, and contrast the pictures. And under the pictures, there's the question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of having a big family? So, when answering, when planning, consider all the above in mind. Think about how you would describe, how you'd compare, how you'd contrast the pictures, and what the answer to the question would be. Once you've been speaking for 2 minutes, the interviewer will stop you and she will ask some follow-up questions. Here are some examples of the follow-up questions. I'll put all the questions in front of you so you'll see how the interviewer moves from one thing to the next. So, the follow-up questions related to the pictures that you just saw might be: what kind of home did you live in as a child? Explain. Is the life of young people stressful today? Why? Why not? Will people in Estonia have more children in the future? Why? What would you like to know about the parents in the pictures? The follow-up questions to task 1 have been planned so that with the first question you would have to use the past tense. With the second question, you would probably try and use the present tenses. The third question is pointing to the future, so use the future. And the final question is testing your ability to ask questions. Sometimes students ask, do I need to ask 1 or 2 questions? How many questions do I need to ask? 1 is good. If you want to ask more than 1 question, you can ask more, but don't go above 2. Once you've answered the questions, the interviewer will tell you to go on to task 2. You will get a card with a statement, an opinion. Please remember that the topics of the statement in task 2 are not connected to the pictures in task 1. So if the pictures were about family life, the statement is probably not going to be about family life. It will be about something else. You will then have 2 minutes to think about what to say. You get some pen and paper to make notes during the time, and you can make notes during those 2 minutes. When you are preparing, think about the following things. First, why do you think some people have this opinion? Why do others disagree with them? What is your point of view? Why do you think what you think? Again, the expected speaking time is 2 minutes. Try to say as much as you can. Show off your ability to speak English. Do not worry about your opinion. It is your language that is assessed. How you say things rather than what you are saying here. Also, don't worry if the interviewer stops you. She has to do so once 2 minutes have elapsed. Let us look at an example of the speaking task 2. The card in front of you will say something like this. Monologue. Read the topic below and prepare to speak about it. Use the questions given to help to plan your monologue. And the topic? Some people say that helping others is a special skill. Why do you think they say that? Do you agree? Give reasons. So when you're preparing, look at the statement carefully. Think about what is expected. And a reminder is there in front of you as well. Why do you think they say that? Do you agree? Give reasons. So you have to argue for and against. Both sides would have to be covered. Once you have spoken for 2 minutes, the interviewer will stop you and she will ask some follow-up questions. Here are some examples of questions that the interviewer may ask after you have spoken about the topic you just saw. Do you spend much time helping others? What can young people teach older people to make their life easier? How common is it for people to become a volunteer in Estonia? What can countries learn from each other? So here, the questions are not about using tenses anymore. The first one is a fairly personal question. The second question will ask you to talk about young people. The third question is about the situation in Estonia. And the fourth question is the most general, asking about things in the world. If your answers are very short, the examiner may ask you to explain or give reasons for what you have just said. There's always the question of, how is my interview marked? The examiners have a maximum of 20 points to give. And during the speaking test, you get points for task completion, vocabulary, grammar, and fluency in pronunciation. The maximum number of points available in each case is 5 points. When the examiners mark the interviews, they follow a marking scale. This is what it looks like. We are not going to go into detail about this complicated scale, but we will look at some of the aspects. For example, the first criterion, task completion. The examiners are thinking, are all the points covered? Did the person describe, compare and contrast and answer the question under the pictures in task 1? Did they argue for and against in the second task? Did they give reasons? Does the student give examples of the points he or she is making? Does the student give long answers to questions in both tasks? Or is he or she being very, very laconic? With the second criterion, vocabulary, the examiner is asking the following questions. Can the student discuss both concrete and abstract topics? How wide is the vocabulary? How correct is the vocabulary? With grammar, the questions are: can the student use many different grammatical structures? Can the speaker use both simple and complex structures? How accurate is the grammar? The final criterion is fluency in pronunciation. Here the questions might be: can the student express himself or herself easily? Can they speak naturally? How often does the student stop to look for words? Is there so much pausing that understanding becomes a problem? How correct is the pronunciation? With a speaking test, the students might have questions. What if I don't understand the question? If you don't understand the question, ask the interviewer. They will repeat the question if necessary. What if I don't understand a particular word? Then ask the interviewer to explain the word. They will give you an English explanation. They will not translate it into your first language. What if I don't understand the meaning of a question? Just in case, ask the interviewer to repeat the question. But if it is clear that you are not understanding, the interviewer will move on. Don't worry too much about it. What if I want to change the pictures? What if I want to change the monologue topic? This, unfortunately, is not allowed. You'll have to give of your best, describing the pictures and speaking on the topic. What if I'm very nervous? It's quite natural to be nervous during the interview. Everybody's nervous in a new situation. Pretend that you're talking to a friend, somebody who's interested in your opinions and in what you're thinking. Don't worry too much about the quality of your language or how fast you're talking. Just listen to the questions. They're questions that you can answer and say what you think. Everybody's there to support you, so don't worry too much, if at all possible. What if I do not have any ideas to speak about? This is something that you can prepare before you actually come to the exam room. Talk to your teacher and find out about how to generate ideas, how to brainstorm for ideas. What are some of the strategies to do that? And then, if you have the strategies already before coming to the exam room, then you will have an easier time dealing with this problem. What is it that I need to do to be successful? What's the secret? The most important thing is to listen to the interviewer. He or she will guide you through the interview. But start warming up for the interview already before you enter the exam room. Speak English to other people who are waiting to take the examination. Then you are ready already before you start warming up. Follow the interviewer's instructions clearly. If it's not clear immediately, Ask them to repeat the instructions. Cover all the points of the task. Look at the pictures carefully, think about the topic. Try and say as much as you can. Give examples from your own experience. Don't hesitate. These add to your answer. They make it more personal, more interesting. You can show off your language here. Be natural and polite. This too is one of the secrets of success. Sometimes people think that the faster they speak, the better they are. Try and be natural. Do not hurry too much. On the other hand, don't try to be very slow either. Try and speak the way you usually speak, in a natural manner. Stay calm, if at all possible. Believe in yourself. You'll be fine. Now, you can listen to a sample interview and see how one of the students is dealing with both the interview introduction, task 1 and task 2.
Hello.
Hello. This is the speaking test of the national examination in English, recorded on October 3rd. Student's code number is 058072. My name is Ari Johansson. I'm your interviewer today, and this is Mrs. Brown, your assessor. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine as well, thank you. Let's talk about cinemas. How often do you go to the cinema?
Usually about once a month.
Why?
There aren't that many good movies right now. But when the Oscar season starts, it's about once a week even maybe.
Okay. What are the advantages of cinemas as compared to television?
You can actually concentrate on the movie and not on the person sitting next to you who is trying to have a conversation. It's easier to watch the movie and it's more immersive.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go on to task 1. In this task, I would like you to compare and contrast 2 pictures. You should speak for 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You cannot make any notes. Please pick a card. What is the number of your card?
A9.
Okay. Here are 2 photographs, and now you have 1 minute to think about the pictures. All right. Remember, you have 2 minutes for this, so do not worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Please start speaking now.
Okay. There are 2 pictures. In both pictures, there are people dancing. In the left picture, there are ballet dancers. There are at least 3 ballet dancers being lifted by their partners, and there are also some dancers in the background. In the right picture, I think this is a street dance, and one guy is suspended in the air. He is in the middle of a backflip, and he's just been flipped by his partner. In the ballet picture, the action is taking place in a theater. It's dark in the background, but the dancers are well lit. In the right picture, with the street dance. The dancers are outside in a public square, it looks like. And there are also some spectators also visible in the picture, and some passers-by. There is one guy talking on the phone. It's a ballet. It's quite modern. It's quite classic, but the street dance is quite modern. But I don't think that opera and ballet will disappear, because even today people still go to the ballet. It's certainly less than in the past, at least in Estonia, I think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I would like you to answer some questions.
Okay.
What was the last cultural event you took part in?
The last cultural event I took part in was a music festival in Latvia called Positivus.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain?
It's an independent rock music festival with artists coming from all over the world, from America, from the UK, the rest of Europe. There were also some Estonian artists and some from Latvia.
Do you prefer traditional or modern art?
I prefer traditional art because, in my opinion, modern art is too abstract and I don't understand it.
Okay. Will online performances replace live ones?
I don't think the online performances will replace live ones, but they will, I think, complement live performances in that people can buy tickets to watch them live, and simultaneously people at home can also see them. So, no, I don't think they will replace each other.
Mm-hmm. What would you like to know about the events in the pictures?
I would like to know about the picture on the right. Where is the theater? In which country? Mm-hmm. And I would like to know the same thing about the street dance. Which country is it? It looks like a southern country, but I'd like to know exactly where it is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let's go on to task 2. Now I would like you to speak on a topic for 2 minutes. Before you talk, mm-hmm. You have 2 minutes to think about what you're going to say. Mm-hmm. You can make some notes if you wish. There's a card, the task on it, mm-hmm. And there's pen, and there's some paper. Now you have 2 minutes. All right. Remember, you have 2 minutes for this, mm-hmm. So do not worry if I stop you. Mm-hmm. I will tell you when the time is up. Please start speaking now.
Okay. Some people say that smartphones should never have been invented. I think they say it because first of all, I don't think they have smartphones. Or maybe if they do, they think they use them too much, or they think that other people use them too much. And I think they think that it separates people from each other. When they could be in the same room talking to each other, they are instead using their smartphones. I disagree. I think people who use their smartphones when there are other people in the room, they are just rude. And smartphones actually are quite useful. They make everyday tasks more convenient. You can make bank payments. You can go to the internet, look up information. And overall, I think that people should moderate their smartphone use, but I think they are still a very useful invention, and therefore I think that I'm glad that they're have been invented. That's it.
Thank you. Now I would like you to answer some questions. Have you ever shopped online?
Yes, I have. I have bought games, video games. I have bought clothes and some puzzles.
Okay. Do you think that young people are addicted to technology?
I think that they use too much of it, and that they would benefit from a week in the forest without any technology.
Okay. How does the older generation in Estonia cope with the development of technology?
I think they cope very well, but it differs from person to person, but usually the older generation has also started to use the internet, online payments, even online voting, and they are coping very well.
Okay. Do you think the internet has made people smarter?
I think that in a way it has made people smarter. That it enables them to look up facts instantly, so they seem smarter, definitely. But they are also less able to remember information because they think that they can look up everything. So they are less inclined to remember.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This is the end of the interview. Your scores will be announced in 15 minutes, but before you leave, could you be so kind and sign next to your name? Okay. Thank you.
We are coming to the end of our video training. We have been talking about many things. We've discussed the speaking test structure, the interview introduction. We've looked at managing task 1 and task 2. We've considered the marks that are given during the test. I have hopefully answered some of the students' questions, and you have looked at a sample interview. At this point, I'd like to thank you for watching this video training and wish you all good luck.